attack is a controversial tactics which US conducts in a tacit agreement with the government of Pakistan in the tribal areas of Pakistan. These are unmanned aerial vehicles. US has never officially owned these attacks, but they are to target the extremists who are otherwise hard to reach and are alternative to the troops on the ground. Pakistan criticizes drone attacks for two reasons. It has to balance the public and private perceptions about the government of Pakistan and it's dealing with the United States. So it doesn't share with the public what it agrees with the US government in private. The reason for that is that the perception of United States in Pakistan is very low and generally in the Islamic world. So Pakistan government does not want to create a perception that it is cooperating with United States and in going after the extremists. However, it creates a problem when there is a drone attack because then it gives the image that the Pakistan army is cooperating with US in implementing the drone attacks. This is the divergence that Pakistan government has to balance, which is to keep the domestic criticism as low as possible, but at the same time manage the international pressure to act against extremists. Do drone attacks cause civilian casualties? This is the most important questions that get asked in the media all the time and is being researched by the think tanks as well. Recently, the New American Foundation as well as the civic organization put out their surveys regarding this controversial question. It's problematic because nobody has access to FATA and the tribal areas, so they have to rely on security forces or the Pakistan government to get access to the region. On the other hand, the only institution which has the best information about if it is causing casualties is the Pakistan Army. And this is why it was very important that recently General Ghayur Muhammad, who is in command of the troops in North Waziristan, made a statement for the first time, and this has happened in the post-Raymond Davis environment, in which he stated that although civilian casualties are occurring in the drone attacks, but they are not as high as has been reported in the media. Furthermore, he added that the drone attacks have been effective. They are actually eliminating extremists. Now, this was a very significant statement that has occurred in the post-Raymond Davis incident. Why did it happen? We believe that there were significant backdoor meetings going on between the intelligence organizations of both countries. And in that, the question may have raised that how can we understand Pakistan's commitment if it doesn't even own the drone attacks? And this is may have been Pakistan Army's reply, that they came out and for the first time made a statement regarding the efficacy of drone attacks. So there are a number of reasons why General Kiani came out so strongly against the drone attacks or the drone attack, particularly in North Waziristan, in which more than 40 people were killed. The first reason being that it occurred soon after Raymond Davis was released, and he was facing a serious backlash and immediate criticism on the release of Raymond Davis. So he had to put out a strong statement criticizing it to balance the domestic criticism. On the other hand, he is also trying to establish red lines around the drone tactics. That Pakistan wants to retain the power to control where, when, why, who would be targeted in FATA region. It would not allow US to go on its own and target anyone on their own timeline. We should remember this is all connected to the conflict in Afghanistan. Pakistan wants to retain its leverage in the negotiations that are unfolding, in which groups are to be targeted and which groups are to be politically reconciled with. And these strong statements reflect that sentiment. And another important question, why doesn't Pakistan own the war against extremism in Pakistan? And this question has been raised a number of times. Even though it privately agrees with the US and the NATO forces to take a number of steps, however, private doesn't translate into public action often. and Pakistan often gets criticized for moving too slowly. So there is a disconnect. Pakistan, as I mentioned earlier on, is balancing domestic audiences and the international pressures. The domestic audiences are increasingly becoming hostile in the sense that they are not owning this war. They want Pakistan to get out of this war. However, Pakistan has to keep conducting its military operations and keep cooperating. It is also because Pakistan is highly economically dependent on international aid. But what happens as a result when these two pressures act on Pakistan is that the public audience and ownership is not pulling along with the government, and that makes the job of the government very, very difficult. And this is where we want to point out the connection with the leaks of WikiLeaks, which made public the private secret dealings of the governments with the United States. And this is why one of the other important reasons why the drone tactics have become so controversial, because as has been demonstrated in the revolutions in the Middle East, if the private dealings of governments are made public, what a strong reaction could emerge. And this has very high sensitivities for the government of Pakistan as well.